From Cowork 591 Studios, this is T. Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with producer Blake Tempus. This is a Jesup News for December 12th. We are sponsored this week by the Littleton Chatham Historical Society. The Littleton and Chatham Historical Society strives to accurately document, promote, and preserve the history of the Littleton and Chatham area to cultivate interest and educational understanding for future generations. The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. It will be offering community programming starting in Jesup, Iowa, before expanding to neighboring communities. Programming will include a community speaker series that will showcase existing creatives who reside within the community, as well as pop-up series that will spotlight and partner with local businesses to provide opportunities for community engagement. The long-range vision is to house a rural artists residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and grounds. First city news, because of when we're taping this, the minutes from the city council meeting aren't ready, but the main focus of Monday's city council meeting was a conversation that took place between the Jesup Community Schools and Jesup City about putting a building where the tennis courts are up by the school. Those of you familiar with the podcast know that we had Chad Cohagen on earlier, and he talked about the bond issue and building a new industrial tech building and an auditorium. Well, they're going to need to put the industrial tech people somewhere, so they think they're going to put a building on the tennis courts. Well, and then move the industrial tech people in there while they build a new tech building. Well, after they're done, then they want to allow the community, the older people of the community, to use that building as a meeting place, as a recreation building, as a coffee shop, among other things. Now, before you panic too much about taxes, etc., it's just in the conversational stage. Or they're going to set up a committee and they're going to talk about that. I asked Chad Cohagen a little bit about it, and here's a quote from him. I can tell you that we are going to set up a joint committee with the city to work through the process and viability, but sounds like a great concept to fulfill school and community needs if we can make it work. If you would like to talk to anyone about it, the city council would be an option, or the school board would be an option as far as learning more about it. But this sounds like a great opportunity for both groups, the school and the city. Remember, it's only in the discussion stage right now. So right now, that's all we have for the city. As far as other stories in the city, I was looking at one of the books in the library and about Jesup history, and I came across this. This was the top story of 1936. There was a massive snowstorm that brought the entire state to a standstill. Old-timers of that time said it was the worst storm that they could recall. The storm took people by surprise Saturday, February 8th, and continued Sunday. The temperature dropped 30 degrees in 2 hours. In no time, roads became impassable, and the whirling snow made it impossible for motorists to see the drifts. At that time, the main highway, Old Highway 20, went north through Jesup, then went west. Cars and trucks traveling the mile between the Bender and Holgate Corner were the hardest hit. Motorists were assisted in their difficulties at the homes on this stretch and became havens for the stranded. The home of Mrs. William May sheltered 22 people overnight. Among them were two couples married that morning, and Ed Cutler, the local baker for the E.A. Brown Market. Food was obtained from the stalled meat, bread, and fruit truck. Farmers were digging out through 10-foot drifts, and when one could make it over drifts and fences with a bobsled, he would pick up neighboring farmers for a way into town to obtain necessities. After the temperature had moderated some, businessmen organized Operation Snow Removal to help farmers make it into town. They shoveled hours on the Littleton Road where the huge drifts were higher than the tractor used in the operation. School remained closed for 6 weeks. To complicate matters, there was a coal shortage. When a carload did come in, the coal was apportioned in small quantities. Emery Zook and Harold Klein made it to Boone coal mines, but were unsuccessful in obtaining any. The large home on the William Mitchell farm southwest of town burned to the ground during the height of the storm. The winter of 1935-36 was the coldest in Iowa history, with a record snowfall and temperature that remained below freezing for 30 consecutive days. Now the library news. Little Tot's Story meets every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Join us for songs, stories, and more. Don't forget the Spice Club. Each month we will feature a new spice to pick up a take-home kit that includes the spice information on its history and uses the recipes. To try the December spice is Saigon Cinnamon. Get yours today at the JPL. Moving Monday is early this month, on Monday, December 12th. That is today, actually. We will show Top Gun Maverick at 1 p.m. The movie is rated PG-13 and runs 2 hours and 10 minutes. Popcorn and water bottles are provided. The Book Club, Christmas Eve at Friday Harbor by Lisa Kleypas, Monday, December 19th at 1 p.m. Books are available in the library. Don't forget the JPL will be closed Friday through Monday, December 23rd to the 26th for Christmas, and again December 30th through January 2nd for New Year's. Happy holidays. Gift ideas. Calling all coffee lovers. Drinking coffee can help support the Jesup Public Library. We've teamed with the Velvet Coffee Company to offer you a special bookworm blend. A portion of every purchase benefits the Jesup Public Library. You can purchase it and other blends online at velvetcoffee.com. And don't forget to stay hydrated. A 30-ounce Polar Camel water bottle with the JPL logo on is available for purchase online. Scan the QR code at the library to order. The Jesup Library has a large number of Christmas books on display ready to check out. Check us out. The Jesup Public Library is more than books. We also have magazines, newspapers, cake pans, puzzles, games, STEM activity bags, cookie cutters, DVDs, a soap making kit, and more for you to check out. We can also request materials from other libraries at no charge through our interlibrary loan. Friends of the Jesup Public Library is welcoming new members. This nonprofit support organization improves the services and resources of the library, promotes citizens' involvement in the community, and hosts fundraising events to offer programs and resources for all ages. Membership forms are available in the library. The Jesup Public Library's Endowment Fund was established to ensure the longevity of the material and resources for the community. We are growing this fund to positively impact current and future patrons of the library. Incentives are provided for contributions to the fund, which are deductible to the maximum extent permissible under current tax laws. Check with your local financial advisor for more information. Library donations. It's easy to make a donation to the JPL. Cash gifts give immediate support. Bequests provide future support to the library, and memorial gifts serve as a special tribute for a loved one. 1,000 books before kindergarten. Parents of young children, you are your child's first teacher, and your home is where your child begins to learn. Children who are read to at an early age will be better prepared to learn. The 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program at the JPL is designed to be simple and encourage making reading a daily habit. Sign up at the library to receive a log to record your child's first 100 books, or use the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten app available in your app store on iTunes. Santa Scavenger Hunt. We invite you to participate in the scavenger hunt around Jesup. There are 14 Santas hidden around town, each holding a different present. Scavenger hunt clue sheets are available at the library. Find all 14 Santas and return your completed sheet to the library during regular hours to receive a small prize. The scavenger hunt will continue throughout December. This week's book was talked about on National Public Radio September of 2010. The book's name is The Tiger, A True Story of Vengeance and Survival by John Valiant. It's hardcover, 352 pages, by Nope Publishing. John Valiant, The Tiger, is a part natural history, part Russian history, and part thriller. It tells a gripping and gory story of what it's like to stalk and be stalked by the largest cat on Earth. The most biodiverse region in all of Russia lies on a chunk of land sandwiched between China and the Pacific Ocean, and there in Russia's far east, subarctic animals such as caribou and wolves mingle with tigers and other species in the subtropics. It was very nearly a perfect habitat for the tigers until humans showed up. The tigers that populate this region are commonly referred to as the Siberian tiger, but are more accurately known as the Amur tiger. Imagine a creature so agile that it can jump 25 feet in length or jump over a basketball rim. And these creatures get as large as 500 pounds, and they are 10 feet. They can get as long as 10 feet from nose to tail. At the center of the story is a man named Vladimir Markov. He's a poacher. And this poacher is hunting one day, and he comes across an Amur tiger. And this Amur tiger has a rather large creature that this poacher wants. And so he shoots the tiger and wounds the tiger and takes what the tiger is eating for his own. And this is where the adventure begins, because as Markov is on his way home, the tiger stalks him and actually beats him to his cabin, destroying his cabin and everything that has his scent on it. And then as Markov arrives home, he kills Markov. This cat had retribution in mind, which is amazing when you think about it. But then you add to the story another gentleman by the name of Yuri Trush. He was a famed poacher hunter in the region at the time. And he becomes not only the hunter of poachers, but the hunter of this cat. And it's a true story of Eastern Russia. So you get a chance, get that book and read it. You have to get it through interlibrary alone. But it is called The Tiger, A True Story of Vengeance and Survival. Now, co-work news. Please join us for these events in December at Co-work 591. There's a free work day, Friday, December 2nd. That is past, obviously. We had the Winter Festival Art Show, and the Steve Brown Art Center would like to thank all of those who stopped in to see the John Decker art. We'll talk more about John with our interviews today with Joe Olson and Tony Fitz. Save the date, 14th of December from 5 to 7. Co-work member, there will be co-work member happy hour at the Crowbar in Independence. That's from 5 to 7. It's member appreciation happy hour for you and a guest. Appetizers and drinks are included. Watch Facebook for our poll so you can choose where they go or where you go. There is a Christmas charcuterie Thursday, December 22nd, 2022 at 6:30. Limited to 20 boards. To reserve a spot, email grazersvinton@gmail.com. It's open to singles, couples, and parents and children 8 years old plus. Choose from the wreath, cutery, round clear plastic tray, $75, or Christmas tree cutery, 14 by 10-inch palm leaf tray, disposable, $50. Again, message grazersvinton@gmail.com. That's GRAZERVINTON@gmail.com to sign up today. School news. First from the rec department. Archery opened the season at South Tama Tournament on Saturday, December 3rd. All three teams finished in first place. Following archers were place winners in their specific divisions. Allie Wyberney, first place elementary girl, 207. Kenley Schmudlock, third place elementary girl, 202. Adrian Casillas, second place elementary boy, 216. Alexi Casillas, third place elementary boy, 202. Emery Smudlock, second place middle school girls, 268. Wow. Mia Forsberg, third place middle school girl, 267. Lance Covington, third place middle school boy, 256. Blair Bach, first place high school girl, 284. Annika Schaefer, second place high school girl, 279. Third through sixth grade girls basketball played at East Buchanan on December 3rd and will play in Jesup on December 10th before finishing pre-Christmas play in Central City on December 17th. The third through sixth grade boys basketball play in Central City on December 3rd and Manchester December 10th, and they will finish pre-Christmas play here in Jesup on December 17th. Watch for more information on adult pickleball soon. Our plan is to have a few open gym type nights and then possibly start a league on Sundays after Super Bowl if we have enough interest. Watch the Jesup Rec Facebook page for more information. From Joe Smines, the athletic director, boys basketball results: Jesup varsity beat Columbus 93-57, led by Jack Miller with 36 points. Brevin Dahl, 21, Ryan Triptow, 13, and Cale Chisel with 12. Jesup varsity boys also beat Denver 77-57, led by Jack Miller with 23, Ryan Triptow with 21, Brevin Dahl 13, and Cale Chisel with 12. Girls basketball results: Jesup varsity beat Denver 63-60, led by Lainey Pilcher with 21. Olivia Nesbitt had 19, and Peyton Bowes had 11. Wrestling results: Thursday's triangular. Jesup Wrestlers beat Mac Valley 57-24. Jesup Wrestlers lost to Wapsie Valley 48-26. At Jesup's dual tournament Saturday, Jesup beat Beckman 51-22. Clear Lake defeated Jesup 44-30. Jesup defeated Iowa Valley 48-36. Central Springs defeated Jesup 40-34, and Regina beat Jesup by criteria 42-42. That's all we have for school news presently. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Obituary this week: Jerry Lynn Bjorn, 73, peacefully left our world on November 30th, 2022, surrounded by his loving family. He was born in Waterloo, Iowa on October 8th, 1949. He was the firstborn of Newt Sr. and Donna Wright Bjorn, and 6 siblings followed him. Jerry attended school in Dunkerton and graduated in May 1968. On September 27, 1969, Jerry united in marriage with Patricia Stocks in Raymond, Iowa. They made their home in rural Jesup. Jerry and Patty were blessed, as Jerry would say while smirking, with 4 daughters. This eventually brought 4 son-in-laws into their family: Tracy and Stanley Frazee of Jesup, Tammy and Kendall Hansen of Vinton, Tina and Chad Delagardelle of Jesup, and Tricia and Bill Hansen of Winthrop. Jerry became a doting and proud grandfather of 11. Misty and Zach Knutson, Travis and Megan Youngblood, Rain and Samantha Finley Youngblood, Brittany Colton Sakya, Alyssa Hansen, Jarrett Ryland and Trevin Delagardelle, Will, Olivia, and Lillian Hansen. Jerry was an even prouder great-grandfather to Greta and Ellery Knutson, and Baker Youngblood. A fourth great-grandchild is expected to make its appearance in April. Jerry is survived by his wife Patty, his daughters and son-in-laws, and his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He is also survived by his 5 brothers, Newt Jr. of rural Independence, Donnie of Galesville, Wisconsin, Steve of Minnesota City, Minnesota, Brett of Stewartville, Minnesota, Jeff of rural Independence, and 1 sister, Nancy Riggle of Waterloo. Jerry is also survived by an uncle, Melvin Wright of rural Lamont, as well as many nieces, nephews, families, and friends. Preceding Jerry in death are his mother and father, his mother and father-in-law, and many aunts and uncles. From Cowork 591 Studios, this is T. Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with producer Blake Tempus. And this week's guests are Joe Olson and Tony Fitz, two great friends of the Steve Brown Arts Center. I've known Tony for over 25 years. That's frightening. And Joe I met within the last 6 months, actually. Right. But they have both done a lot for the Arts Center, and so I wanted to invite them in tonight. We're taping on the 7th of December, and it's about 8:30 at night, and both these gentlemen want to get home tonight, so we will get going. Guys, I guess I'll start with Tony first. Tony, how'd you get involved with the Malik Theater?
What's the Malik Theater?
Thank you.
My mom bought it in 1992. She was in a small business class for women entrepreneurs, and she actually drove by it one day and said, "It'd be nice if that came up for sale." And 2 weeks later, there was a for sale sign on it. The rest is history in my family.
You've kept the passion with theater. What excites you about it, Tony?
I have a list of things that excite me about that place. The foremost is the Art Deco design of it. When my mom had gotten it, it was twinned, and they just totally disregard the structure, the architecture of it, and you started picking away. It was like a little treasure chest. You just kept finding things, and then one day I met the guy that built it. We had a nice long talk. He visited for a while, and I got the bug. I call it the Malik bug. So there's just the potential. I don't know. I have the vision of what it would look like as it looked in the days that it was built in its glory. So I don't know. It just grew on me.
What all have you done to this point, Tony? You've invested countless hours. Tell us what all you've done to it so far.
Well, we took the walls out that twin the auditorium. That was the first thing, and then just started restoring the original fixtures, all the artwork we could find in it, paintwork, and just basically taking it back down to the first stage paint and structure. There's so much I've done to my place. Just throughout the years, just one thing after another. So I don't know. That's a really big question.
You're a 501c3, correct?
Yes.
So what are some grants you've received over the years, things like that have helped you on your process?
We did receive a grant from the Historical Society from the get-go, but we had to return it because they didn't approve of the method. They want everything done exactly the way it was done, and in the meantime, we had to hurry up and get repairs done, so we had to do them not how they wanted it, so we had to give it back. Other than that, we've just been getting whatever donations. We don't have any grants yet. So this has been pretty much organic. People donating bottles and cans, and just every once in a while giving us a check, and a lot of it's in-kind work and all that.
You know, as a the Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3, and as a 501c3, it's amazing how money turns up sometimes when from surprising places. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
People that you may not know all of a sudden just surprise you.
We did receive. Geez, it was like the first month we'd started an anonymous $10,000 donation.
Isn't that incredible?
And thank you, whoever you are. That was a great thing.
I'd like to talk a little bit. We'll be back with you, Tony. I'd like to talk a little with Joe here. Joe is a little bit of background about how I met Joe. Joe is with Laces in Independence, and I contacted Laces, and somehow I got hooked up with Joe. Joe, could you tell us about Laces a little bit?
Well, Laces has been around for quite a while, but about 20 years ago received some money from the George Hood estate, and then that's been put in with the Northeast Iowa Community Foundation, and so Laces operates off of the income from that every year, and funds various art activities in the community.
What are some things they fund, Joe?
Well, most recently, the Second Saturday series at the Farmers Market the last couple of years. We just contributed to Jingle on Main. The mural project in Bremer Park the murals themselves have been funded, several of them by Laces. We're working on a project now called the Little Free Art House and Gallery, and that'll be put up here pretty soon. And so it's just helping with a variety of smaller projects and trying to get the most out of what's usually about $2,500, and then if there are any donations, that goes to that kitty as well. So,
What does Laces stand for, Joe?
well, Local Arts Comprehensive Educational Strategies. It's actually a name that dates back to when Governor Branstad gave money to schools across the state to help with the arts. And so that was the initial project. And I think it went towards computers for the band program or music program originally, when computers were just kind of getting going. And so it's just evolved from there. Of course, it really helped with the money from the guy's estate.
Right. We had, the three of us worked on a project last month. We had the John Decker Art Show in Malik Theater. Would have been early December or early November, and that was a 3-day period. Allowed Tony to show off the theater a little bit, show off his lobby and things like that. What Tony's done has been remarkable. Tony, what's your next step in the theater?
The next step will be we're going to try to work on grants throughout the winter so we can start in getting the auditorium done. Then we can go through. Well, I guess we have to start really finishing up the back half of the roof, which then we can get in the auditorium. And then after we get that all cleaned out, get the ceiling in, and it's basically just furnishing up, starting to clean up, get things wrapped up and equipment in, and getting her set up to entertain, I guess you'd say.
And this is where Joe and I have talked a lot about this over the recent months. We're looking, venues in our area in Buchanan County are a large venue is not available. I mean, there's small venues like Cowork 591, the Jesup Public Library, the Littleton Chatham Historical Society. You were kind enough, Tony, at the theater, but there's not a lot of venues in Buchanan County. Joe, do you want to speak on that?
Well, one venue we've used is the Farmers Market, and of course that's a great setting. The IACT group that did some recent one-act plays used the Methodist Church as their venue, And then for their Halloween, they used the storage lockers out west of town. So it's a scramble to find places, and the theater on the horizon will certainly be a huge asset to the community.
And Tony and I have talked a lot about that. He's mentioned he'd like to get live entertainment in there as well as movies. So that excites me a lot. You're right. And with Jesup building an auditorium, they've mentioned perhaps sharing with community as well, which is wonderful. What are some other art groups in Buchanan County, Joe, that you're involved with? Because you seem to know a lot of people in Buchanan County dealing with the arts.
Well, I mentioned IACT and LACES. I think probably what I'm most interested in is how you build the network and how you get people working together and knowing what each group is up to and how we can support each other. A lot of times people in Independence don't know what's going on in Jesup and vice versa. And so any things we can do to increase awareness and also begin to track down artists like Mr. Decker, who has just a tremendous collection of original artwork that we're trying to get more exposure to as well.
You met with a man that does work on at an international level here last week. Could you tell us about him a little bit? With the metal work.
Gene Ficken does tractor parts, metal out of metal, and accessories and things. I really haven't seen all of his collection, but he is nationally renowned, I guess, for his skill in that area. And it seems like a lot of artists kind of toil in obscurity, and so if we can find out who they are and come up with ways to help them show their art, that'd be great.
And that's what the Steve Brown Art Center wants to do is help local artists as much as we can. 3 artists that we want to showcase this winter are John Powers, Mix to Bell, and Noah Burrish from here in Jesup. They're musicians. Tony, I know you know musicians in Independence. Who are some musicians in Independence? The opportunity is there. Even if we don't have a venue, the opportunity is there. I mean, we have the pavilion. In Jesup we have the pavilion. We have the band center there in the middle of the park. There's a lot of places, even local bar and grills. I know that the former Okoboji out on the river there, what is that now called? Denali's. I know that they've had music a lot since they've reopened. John Powers from Jesup has performed out there. Bruce Behringer's been out there from Owan. Joe, if you could change, or if you could make something for Buchanan County and Independence for the arts, what would you do?
Well, I just off the top of my head, just bring as many people together to talk about what's in the future and what people would like to see. It's going to be a collaborative effort of making things happen. Mm-hmm. And the more that happens, the better. And I can't say how it's going to map out, but there's a lot of momentum now. When I first heard of the Steve Brown Art Center, I thought, man, that'll never happen. That's a pipe dream. Malik Theater is a pipe dream. That'll never happen. But as I get involved, you can just see they're chipping away, and very dedicated people. And so to jump on board with that, I'm fortunate to be involved with these things.
Well, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you do. You've been involved with some of our meetings with with one of our board members, Kara Masteller. You're not afraid to ask and share. You set us up with John Decker, and brought the art show not only to the Malik Theater but also to Cowork 591 here. So that's just a start, and as long as the Steve Brown Art Center knows that there are people that want things, we can find the money. You know, I was talking today with a local businessman, and we're headed toward a project this summer that is pretty big. Maybe next year or next week I'll have a chance to talk on that. But if people are interested, we'll help with it. Tony, if you were going to show your first movie in the theater, what would be the first movie in the theater tomorrow if it was open?
I don't know if I'd go with a new movie or not, but I wouldn't mind seeing the first. Well, it'd be episode 4 of Star Wars, the first one on the big screen. That'd be fun for me, but
yeah,
you know,
that'd be fun for a lot of people.
I
think.
think that'd be great, seeing some of the old classics up on the big screen.
Well, both of my adult children, when I've told them about being involved in the Malik, they can remember a movie that they saw, or when we were hosting the art show, people would come in and ask about this and I remember this and I remember that, and so there's so much nostalgia with theater.
That's fun too when people come in. Everybody has a story. I remember when we was up in the balcony, or remember when we snuck in the booze, or it's just kind of fun to hear each person's little memory.
There was a lady who walked in there when we were there that week. She came in and said, "This is where I got my first kiss, or I had my first kiss." The movies I would ask for are a little older. I'd love to see Harvey, Jimmy Stewart and Harvey, and Casablanca. I'd love to see Casablanca in a big theater rather than on TV. Those interest me a lot. Joe, tell us a little bit about your family.
About my family?
Yeah.
Well, I have 2 adult children. Both live in Cedar Rapids. My wife, Judy, is a retired media specialist from the Independent School District, and a very dedicated historian of early independence history. She's done so much to add to our 175th celebration this last year. 2 dogs, 2 cats, and away we go.
You and Judy have so many irons in the fire. You both are going many places.
Well, probably my thing I'm most avid about is flowers and gardening, and I don't know that if you'd consider flowers in the downtown, in parks, green spaces as art, but I do.
Yeah.
And really, it's neat to get involved in beautification of the greenscape in
right.
the county.
It is. I consider that art. Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that before.
And there's quite a gardening network in Buchanan County of folks that really take great pride in making their home city as pretty as possible.
Tony, tell us about your family.
I have 4 wonderful children. Great kids. I'll be empty nester here pretty soon. The youngest is 17, be 18 January 2nd.
Wow.
And then it's just me and the wife. No, we're not as fancy and special as him and his wife. We're just ordinary people. Enjoying life as it comes along. And
what's your wife's first name?
My Patricia.
Patricia. What does she do, Tony?
She works over there at Papa Top.
Okay.
She counts cans that we bring in from the Malik.
Right.
She loves it. She loves doing that after hours with me.
I'll bet.
No, she don't. That's it's quite a chore, actually. And freaking cans.
That helps you pay the bills.
Yeah, they're paying the bills.
Yeah, I know the Littleton Chatham Historical Society has a metal dumpster, and that helps Tony pay the electric bill for the wintertime. Just little things like that do amazing things. Gentlemen, if you could tell us something I haven't asked about you, about your project, or about the projects you're working on, what would you tell us?
I'm just really pleased with the momentum that seems to be building for the arts, and once the ideas start percolating and kind of join together, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years.
You've talked about your sister and the community she lives in the arts.
Yeah, Eau Claire. Yeah. Actually, I've been sending them cards of John Decker's work that they get all excited about. I send them a Christmas collection, and so I get feedback from other parts of the Midwest, and they are very encouraging and give examples of things that have happened in their communities when things start changing and downtowns get revitalized, and there's a whole new chemistry.
Independence is trying.
Well, I think Buchanan County is trying. We've got a tourism director now for the whole county, and our efforts to work together. We're in it together, so we need to work together.
Yep. Tony, what would you like to share?
I just appreciate all the support the Malik's been getting the last couple of years after seeing some things done. We've been gaining a lot of people I have lots of people that contact me just to say, good job, that place is amazing. Oh, I remember when, and I can't wait till I can see it again. And I did have one. I don't know if I should talk about this or say this, but I was outside during the summer. We were painting, and this little gal came up, little lady, and she had a couple cans put in the bin, and she says, "Oh, I hope I live long enough to watch a movie here again." And that just stuck with me. I was like, I hope you do too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, that place really means a lot to a lot of people, and it's really amazing, really, to hear about that and learn. A lot of people. I grew up there, and I want to see it go. So thank you, everybody.
Well, thanks to both of you guys for what you do for the arts for our area, and thank you for what you do for the Steve Brown Arts Center. We can't thank you enough. Hopefully, we're still working together in the next few years as well. So, appreciate you coming over. This is the SBAC Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie, along with producer Blake Tempus. There's something unique I'd like to talk about. I used to talk about in class. I'm not a big fan of Dr. Phil, but Dr. Phil talked about defining moments in people's lives. He said that the average adult in our country has in their lives 10 defining moments, 7 critical choices, and 5 pivotal people. And I'd like to talk a little bit about those. According to Dr. Phil, in every person's life, there have been defining moments, both positive and negative, that have defined and redefined who you are. Those events entered your consciousness with such power that they have changed the very core of who and what you thought you were. A part of you was changed by those events and caused you to define yourself to some degree by your experience and the event. Some examples of defining moments include divorce, a birth, death, moving, tragedy, triumph, abuse, conversation, religious experience, an award, honor, and achievement, drugs, depression, recognition, acceptance, exposed secret, affair, medical problems, an injury, a tough time, standing up for yourself, standing up for someone else, being bullied, realization of talent, betrayal, trust, a dream come true, conflict with someone, an emergency, near-death experience, finances, an accident, abuse, etc. One event that was talked about by a young lady in my class over the years that sticks with me was this young lady, when she was in second grade, was playing outside with her sister, and a man had killed his wife in the house, and he came running out of the house after committing that murder, and that event had a huge impact on that young lady. She had handled it well in her life, but she as we talked about this, she mentioned that, and that was 10 years after the event had taken place. Or, excuse me, 9 years after the event had taken place. And as a second grader, you don't remember a lot, but you remembered that vividly, as we all would. So that is a defining moment. Another thing that Dr. Phil talks about is critical choices. Those are those that have changed your life positively or negatively and are major factors in determining who or what you will become. They are the choices that have affected your life up to today and have set you up on a path. Some examples of critical choices include friends, family, drugs, alcohol, boyfriend, girlfriend, school, college, job, career, religion, morals, beliefs, values, attitude, etc. A critical choice in my life was the choice I made to take the job here in Jesup. Jesup's been extremely kind to me over the years, and that had a big impact on my life. The third thing is an influential person. And Dr. Phil talks about we all have 5 people in our life that were influential. Now, these can change from year to year. An influential person is someone who has left an indelible impression on who you are and how you live. He or she may be a family member, friend, teacher, youth leader, counselor, co-worker. Their influence can be either positive or negative. The 5 people that are the most influential people in my life were my father. Obviously, I've spoken a lot about my father on here. My mother, one of the most competitive humans I've ever been around. Virgil Hovden, he and his wife owned Dream Chaser Acres, and when my mother passed away, they had driven 23 hours to Florida, and they found out that my mother died, and they just arrived at the hotel when they found out, and without blinking an eye, they got back in the car and came back to Iowa. A very influential person in my life. I had a first cousin, Larry Benson, who was more like a brother to me, and I had surgery last year on my back, and a friend that I grew up with, who I spent very little time with the last 35 years, drove down and stayed the first night with me after surgery. You know, these are influential people in my life, the 5 people that are the most influential to me. If you get a chance, take your time. And again, that's 10 defining moments, 7 critical choices, and 5 influential people. Do that and see how your life was affected. The Steve Brown Arts Center sponsored the John Decker Art Show at Cowork 591 Studios this past weekend, or last weekend, in conjunction with the Winter Arts Festival. We had over 150 people come into the Cowork building and look at John's art. And the SBAC would like to thank all of the people that stopped in and looked around at the art. Some of the plans that Steve Brown Arts Center has is a music podcast in January. In February, the Jesup Story Corps. And in March, a jazz festival at Union High School. Don't forget also to check out our podcast every week. And there is presently work starting on stories from River Road Boulevard. The Steve Brown Art Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has visions for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. If you'd like to learn more about the Steve Brown Art Center, go to the website at stevebrownartcenter.org, go to our Facebook page, or go to Twitter, Steve Brown Art Center on Twitter. If you would like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to stevebrownartcenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at Gillespie, that's JGILLESPIEGOLF at gmail.com, or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. That's 319-290-0241. I'd like to take this moment to thank our loyal listeners. As we work to build this up, we have around 60 loyal listeners, and they are people that give us positive feedback as well as tell us things that they would like to hear or that they enjoy. Don't be afraid to talk to us about it and give us some suggestions. We are open for those. I'd like to thank Blake Tempus, our producer, Tony Lang and Kelly Seahaas at Cowork 591 for everything you do for us. Tony puts it on our on Spotify for us every week. This is Jim Gillespie. Remember, each day is about little victories.